Good afternoon and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Today I said earlier that I was going to make apple brownies, which I am. Now, it reads here that this is only going to take 1 to 1.5 cups of flour. I have made this recipe. Now, when you add nuts and raisins and moist apples and stuff, there's fluid in the raisins and definitely in the apples. And if you don't sit there and get the balance right of your dry ingredients with the fruit and the liquid that you put into it, you'll notice that your brownies or whatever you're making is almost gooey in the middle, though you say it's done. This recipe was miswritten, and it doesn't have enough flour in it to sustain the lift that you need and to make sure that you get that moisture and of the wet ingredients and the fruit with the dry ingredients. So we're going to have to change this recipe around to make it fit, because 1.5, when you put as much apple as you put in it and as many raisins as you're putting into it, it's just not working. I've already done it twice. Somebody told me, you're not following the recipe right. I followed the recipe again. The same thing, heck, it was too moist and it collapsed every time you went to cut it. The center, though you left it in a long time to cook, it just wasn't gelling. So it's evident that it needed more flour. So I've changed this recipe so it will work better. I've even thought about even adding more flour, but I'm hemming and hawing on it. Now they say they want 1 to 1.5 cups of flour. We are actually going to be adding 2 cups of flour to this. We're going to increase a whole 1/2 cup to see if this really compensates, and it really does. Basically, I mean, it's like if you want to add like another 1/4 of a cup, you could actually get away with it. But I will be using a 1/2 cup of whole wheat and 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And this is a very rich brownie. But I know that people take recipes, and what they do is they try to minus things from a recipe and change it around to make it their own, but they don't realize the amount of work that went in to create that recipe. Sometimes they have to play with it many times before they get it straight, and then when they do get it straight, they give it to the public, and then the public starts playing with it and wonders why it doesn't work, because they want to claim it as theirs. Do I use recipes? Yes, I do. I'm not going to lie. But what I do is I make them nutritious, which is the difference. What did I do? Here it is. But this one definitely has to be changed. Make sure you level off. There are just some things you just can't do. And I don't have... I wear an apron, yes. I remember when I graduated to an apron. Before, I just did little things in the kitchen. I didn't have an apron or anything. But I remember when I got my first apron, that meant that I was a cook, and it meant a lot to me. At that point, I just wore my house play clothes with my mother. She'd have the apron on because she was the cook, and I was just helping her. But I cannot wear a chef's jacket that they wear because I'm not a chef, but I am a cook. So when I got my first apron, it was like I was ecstatic. I was acknowledged as a cook. So a lot of people play around with these recipes and they really don't know what they're doing. All right, you need a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. I was on cloud 9. I had finally moved from just being a little helper into being a cook. It meant the world to me. And salt, we need 1/4. I know I should put my glasses on, shouldn't I? And a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Well, I wrote it large, so you know, I always print large anyway. So I really don't have to worry about it. You see, my thing is that if I create a recipe, it's usually done on the spot while I'm making food more nutritious, and that's where it comes from. But I would never attempt to take a recipe and rewrite the ingredients and unbalance a dish, because I know that it is like, I love truffle mashed potatoes, but I like keeping peelings on my potatoes. Now, I left the peelings on one time and it actually interfered with the flavor of the truffles. So, but he only puts 2 teaspoons in. I say no, I cut back a little bit on the butter and stuff, and I had 2 tablespoons. I love the taste of truffles. I mean, you could call that a sinful mashed potato. All right, mix this up. Now see, I don't have to add anything else to this because I used a 1/2 cup of wheat flour. So I've got my B vitamins, my trace minerals and stuff in there, so I don't have to worry. You're gonna need a 1/2 cup of chopped walnuts. When they say chopped, they don't mean fine where you can't see them, but you know, sort of on the chunky side, sort of. All right, and you're gonna put this, because we're gonna be going to the mixer, put this on the side. So I'm gonna be dragging your tail over there. So to the 1/2 cup of chopped walnuts, we're gonna need a 1/2 cup of raisins. Dark raisins will have more flavor for this dish, so I'd strongly recommend you use the dark ones. I'll throw them in here because I like raisins anyway. Now I am going to use green apples, and it says 3 medium. Now I can't vouch for 3 medium because I got some large apples. Okay, let's face it right here. And don't worry, we're going to be turning the oven on to 350. And another thing about this recipe. No, it's here. Thank God it's here. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, we're going to need 3 medium chopped apples. You're going to leave the peelings on these apples, so you're getting the full nutritional. And remember when I said the skins of the fruits and stuff have antitoxins, so you're going to be able to get the antitoxins as well. Let me get my corer out. Okay. See, I have my walnuts and nuts, raisins there. Let's put that here. Did I get them all? Oh, I did. Good job. This is a corer. It makes your job much easier. You see how it's built? It's really nifty. I know I use the word nifty. You're probably saying, boy, is she old-fashioned. Yeah, I am. Oh, this did not, and this apple is slightly going in the core. Okay, well, get a smaller knife. usually make this in the autumn, but one of my son's birthdays are coming up in a couple of days, and he loves this, so I said, okay, I'll make it. You can buy apples, but you're not guaranteed that center isn't aging, and that's what I'm cutting away right now. Got the core out, and then I saw, oh no. Okay. Come on. This brownie is loaded with a lot of flavor. I mean, it's got so much in it, it's just delicious. You put the apple with your nuts and raisins. Now you see why I don't have long nails. I'd be shaving my nails into the food all the time. And if you wear nail polish and you do this kind of work, believe you me, the food will take it right off your hands. Well, we're chomping it. Matter of fact, apples weren't this large when I was growing up. They're so large now, they've changed, and so you can write the recipes. Recipes didn't use as much sugar as they do today. It's amazing. You can see how them playing with the our food and doing things to it, how it's changed it. Okay, we didn't get all the core out on this one, okay. So if you go to do a recipe, you can't, if you're going to create a recipe, you better know how, study up on recipes. And if you're changing a recipe, be well aware of that. A lot of hard work and some of the mistakes you make and everything, they've already done. I have people constantly telling me that they hate whole wheat flour and whole wheat bread unless it's done up a certain way. So companies sit there and take white flour and add molasses to it and say, there, you got whole wheat. And they call white flour whole wheat. I listen to them in the games that they play. I listen very carefully to what they say. I go, okay, I see you. See, when they engineer food, they're more concerned about the flavor. My thing is how many nutrients are you leaving out of the food as you engineer it and change it around? You should check into that first before, you know, you do something. You know, can you still hold the nutritional value and sweeten it up? I think 2 of those apples should do enough on that. I'm mixing it because I'm going to get ready to put a tablespoon of flour in this. So when I add them to the batter and stuff, they will be suspended throughout, and that's what you want. Because they say put it in with the flour mixture that I just did, but that flour mixture has baking soda and this is moist. So you know as soon as you do it, the baking soda is going to be triggered to start lifting it up. It's supposed to be lift up. Get ready to do it. Put it together. So you have to be careful with that. So a tablespoon of flour, toss it around. It will coat it and suspend all of your fruit and nuts and raisins and everything throughout the brownie. Or if you make a cake, do this the same thing and it will suspend it quite nicely. You know, I don't think that's enough flour. We have to add a little more. I knew a girlfriend like upstate. She was supposed to create a lemon lime cake. She said, my family's getting tired. Her parents, because she was serving it, she served it to her friends, and everybody was telling her how it tasted and everything else. Now that they're all coated, when I mix this, they will not fall to the bottom. And that's what I'm trying to make sure it doesn't happen. Now you're going to put this over by your mixer because we're going to be using a stand-up mixer for this. Okay, let's see, I did that. Okay, my butter is frozen. So what I'm going to do, because I have to cream this, we're going to cream sugar and butter. I have to soften this up or it's not going to work. So into the microwave real quick. And I will be back. add your butter into your mixer. We'll be moving over here in a bit. All right, we got the butter in the mixing bowl, and we add 1 cup of sugar. And then I'll move you on over. You're also going to need an egg and vanilla. Okay, here we go. We're just going to let this beat until this is light and fluffy. See how that's working? See how it gets that texture? Let me see if I can turn it. Can you see that texture? That's what you want. I'm going to add an egg and a teaspoon of vanilla. You know, when I was younger, I used to race through everything, but I don't have to anymore. I used to get up before the family so I could get all this started. You can see, and I told you there's a lot of fruit in this. See how thick that is? But if you have it too thin, it won't work. I'm bringing you over here, don't worry. I know, I expect you to say, look, I'm getting dizzy. Okay. I'll show pieces. So see how thick that is? If you have it too moist, it won't rise with all the fruit and stuff you have in it. It won't cook through. It'll be too moist. That's why we add that extra half a cup of flour. I'm not letting you out. Little Pip thinks he can fly. He can't fly. He damaged his wing. He ran into the wall. He almost broke his whole wing. And now he can't. When he tries to, he just drops to the ground. That's this. So he has to walk where he wants to go. But with the cats in the house, I can't let him out. We have to be careful. When he does come out, we have to watch him. They're probably saying, is this going to rise? Yeah, it will, believe it or not. With all that you put in it. And I'll level it off in a bit. See how it is mound up. Even if you do with 1.5 cups, I sort of treat it like me making coconut bread. Actually, I use my hand and I pat it out and then I shape it. After I do that, I get my hand wet and go right on the top of it, which keeps it from sticking. And I actually do it that way. Because it is like coconut bread in that aspect, how thick it is. So by doing it this way with a wet hand, you can balance it out. That's it. And we're going to bake it about, I think, if I remember correctly, 45 minutes? Yeah, 40 to 50 minutes. But this is how it's going to look. You see how much fruit is in it? It's all over it. Alright, so I will see you in 45 minutes and we'll check it and see how it comes out. Okay, we're going to check it. It's been cooking 46 minutes. It might be done. It's pretty high in the center. Don't ever pull the shelf out when you're going to check. You have to go in. Oh, let's see if I can get you over here where you can see. You see I have it all the way in there because the heat's there. You pull it out, it'll catch it. Chill if it hasn't risen all the way. It's a little moist, it's got to stay in just a little longer and that's it. But you see how I kept it in because that's where all the heat is. If you pull it out, it'll catch a chill. And then it, very fast, right in front of your eyes, it goes right in. But it's still slightly moist, so it's got to stay a little longer. Okay, I just took it out of the oven. I gave it an extra 10 minutes total. And here it is. Apple brownies. And it is apples. You can see it. Look at all the apples in it. Anyway, you take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.